Or New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio has another year in office. Meanwhile, the number of people seeking to replace him certainly growing.
We can do better. We must do better. That is why I'm running for mayor.
All right, New York City Councilmember Carlos Menchaca announced his campaign yesterday. He joins us live this morning. So good morning to you, sir. Thanks for joining the Pix 11 Morning News.
Buenos dias.
So you put your hat in the ring to run for mayor of New York City. I have to ask you why now, and what can you offer New Yorkers if elected?
Thank you for having me on. And what I think I'm most excited about right now is the fact that New Yorkers already this summer have really exploded with an energy that is demanding change, a new leadership, a leadership that's going to bring that voice into City Hall. And I think what we've seen at City Hall for the last almost 8 years is a lack of connection to our communities. And as a council member, a local council member, I've been able to understand the intelligence of our neighborhoods so that they can grow in their image. That's what I'm bringing, a fresh new perspective, energy, courage, and experience.
So when you look at the things that are affecting New York City right now, there are certainly a host of issues. What issues right now do you see are the most important to tackle as mayor? Obviously coronavirus.
Yes, well, obviously coronavirus. The virus is, but the virus has put a focus on how city government can be effective in our communities. When I think about the community that I represent, immigrant, foreign-born, the response from the city has failed to connect to the people who are non-English speakers. That's an example of a disconnect, a city not understanding its own people. I'm thinking about artists and the economy. And what I'm asking right now, all the artists to come out and be part of the change and keeping the soul alive of the city. Those are the kind of things that this campaign is going to be about, bringing those ideas and making some really good change in this city.
And I want to talk about crime, right? Because the city is actually experiencing such a surge in crime numbers, increased by 76% in September. We're up by 127%. There are some numbers on the screen for you. I know you can see them. What do you see as the driving force behind the crime, and what would you do to help quell the crime surge?
What I see when I look at those numbers and what I hear from the community is that these numbers represent a lack of investment into our communities. Families that are hungry, jobs, those are the kind of things that are important to our communities, not more police. More police. Police has not decreased in terms of number, but the crime continues to go up. What is lacking is investment. That is what I'm going to bring to this race.
A lot of talk about defunding the police. Where do you stand on that issue?
Oh, I was a leader in the conversation about defunding our NYPD and refunding our communities with exactly what I just said. Our communities are lacking in the resources that we need, and our priorities need to shift. That's what I'm going to bring. I'm going to bring that courage. I voted no on the budget. I voted no on the 4 new jails that are on their way with the $9 billion price tag. All of that needs to change. And our communities have the intelligence to make that happen.
As mayor, would you keep Commissioner Shea on board, or would you look to replace him?
Oh, we need new leadership across the board, not just at the mayor's office, at the NYPD, the city agencies. We need a transformation of leadership in our city right now.
You know, you touched upon, Mr. Menchaca, you touched upon the budget right there, and obviously the city is facing such a budget crisis, and it's really been heightened because of coronavirus. City staffers furloughed to help kind of close the gap. Is this something you would have done, and what would be your approach then, I guess, to help the city get out of this economic crisis, because some people are seeing that there's no light at the end of the tunnel here?
I know everyone's waiting for the federal government to come in. We have a big election, so go out and vote. We're hoping to see some good change there. But the city has so many resources to reactivate itself, and it's all about priorities. We have an over $80 billion budget right now that we can reshift. That imagination is lacking, and that's what I'm going to bring. Imagination, courage, and leadership rooted in our communities.
You know, you've kind of labeled yourself, I guess, as a progressive, right? You would be the first Mexican-American elected into office. You'd be the first openly gay elected office from Brooklyn. I got to ask you right now, because you used the word progressive, and Mayor de Blasio also used the word progressive when he was running to be mayor. Would you want his endorsement?
Absolutely not. I've been a critic since I became a council member and he became a mayor. I think that this administration has been labeled by me, but by now by everyone, as a big failure. And what we want is not to connect to a de Blasio administration, but to connect, turn the page to the future. When we're trying to think about climate change and the kind of city that we need to be in this world, we got to look beyond that. So I will not be looking for his endorsement. I'm going to be looking for the endorsement of the people.
Understood. And lastly, we're out of time here, but I got to ask you this one question. There's been a lot of talk. We heard in the debate last night, New York is a ghost town. Wanted to get your thoughts on the growing number of people that may be exiting the city and the critics who are saying New York City is dying. I think I know your response here.
Well, we know that people are leaving, and many of those are the wealthy. The people that are staying are essential workers, immigrants, artists. We got to make them the centerpiece of the next chapter of the city, and there's nothing dead about them. That is the soul of this city.
All right. Councilman Menchaca, thank you for making one of your first stops after your announcement right here on the Pix More News. Do appreciate it, and come back along the way. It's going to be a very long year and a half.
Yes, it will.
All right.
I'm looking forward to it.
Welcome back, sir. Thank you very much for the time.